So today we have two ladies from the Department of Child Services to present for us, and this is a kind of a near and dear thing to my heart. As a few of you know, in 2023, we became foster parents, my family, and we took in a little girl, and we went through the process of eventually adopting that child. But what was very interesting to me was the fact that I had really no idea what DCS is. I had a notion of what they do and how they work, but the scale of the machine is beyond what I really comprehended. So, Katie Wilhoy and Rachel Day are here to speak with us today. Katie started working at the Tennessee Department of Child Services in 2011 as a foster care worker in Washington County. She began supervising foster care teams in 2020. She has worked in supervision in Greene County, Hawkins County, Hancock County, Sullivan County, and currently works in Washington County. Now, Rachel started working at DCS in 2015. She began in foster care before transferring to CPS. She worked in CPS until 2022 when she was promoted to team leader in foster care. Rachel currently supervises a team of foster care workers in Washington County. Please welcome them.
Thank you all for having us today. Katie and I were counterparts in Washington County in foster care, so we have a small slideshow just kind of about what DCS does. There's a whole lot of intricate parts of DCS, so we can't cover everything, but we wanted to give you all kind of an overview of what the department does. So the mission of the Department of Children's Services is that we act in the best interest of Tennessee's children and youth, and our vision is that we put children first. So first, I think people think DCS is just one agency, and we are one big agency, but there's different tracks of the Department of Children's Services. So the first one we're going to talk about is Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services are the teams that investigate allegations of child abuse and neglect. There's two different tracks for that. There's Family Preservation and Prevention, and then there's also the SIPIT team, which is Child Protective Investigative Team. The SIPIT team works severe cases and child deaths. The FPP team works more non-severe cases, so some drug exposures, environmental neglect, medical neglect, some stuff like that. There's a threshold of what constitutes as a severe child abuse case. And then there's also the drug team, and they investigate children up until the age of 1. So the drug exposed babies and things like that is what the drug team investigates. So we don't just go find children to investigate. We get referrals from the Child Abuse Hotline. These are the numbers and how you would make child abuse and neglect referrals. You can do it online, and then you can also call the Child Abuse Hotline. That's centralized out of Nashville, which is our central office, and then it gets sent out to the county of where the child abuse or neglect has occurred. And then we also, in the non-custodial cases, which we'll talk about in a second, for like FSS, which is Family Support Services, or enrollee youth that's Family Crisis Intervention Program, those referrals, a lot of those come by the court. So that a child has come to the attention of the court system, and the court system says, hey, we need DCS in here to intervene and assist this family, and we get referrals through the court as well. So Family Support Services, they provide assistance to families with children in need of services to reduce the risk of a child coming into foster care or being placed outside of the home. Just because a child is taken out of the home does not mean they're automatically coming to foster care. We first look at kinship. We want to try to place the kid within their family, within their community. We ask the kids, do you have friends at school? Do you know anybody in your life, people that you've known at Vacation Bible schools? We want to place children in their communities with people that they know. So, but Family Support Services gets involved and tries to prevent a child having been removed at all from their family, because the best place for a kid is with their family when it's safe. Family Crisis Intervention is a brief intervention with kids who have an some unruly behaviors and are at risk of coming into custody for that. So this intervention, we provide services through the community to try to keep the child in the home to work on those behaviors. They can also, we have non-custodial placements through agency partnerships that we may be able to help kids be placed non-custodially before they ever enter foster care to help them get the services they need. So their parents still have custody of them, but they're still getting the support that they need. So family crisis intervention is more for those unruly kids. Most of them have charges or have had some kind of behavior that's brought them to the court to need intervention. I'm going to talk about juvenile justice first, just because foster care is what we do primarily. We probably have a lot more to say about that. Juvenile justice, so we know that kids get in trouble. They get charges. I'll tell you one thing that kids get a lot of charges for is vapes. That is an ongoing problem. It is a big problem, and that brings them to the attention of the courts. So juvenile justice, if a kid comes in to the court system and they do have charges, they may get put on juvenile justice probation, and they will remain in their home, but they have a probation officer through the Department of Children's Services. And then we also have juvenile justice custody, which means that a kid is in the Department of Children's Services custody because of charges, and they're getting rehabilitation. And then foster care is, unfortunately, kids can't always stay at home. It's not always a safe place. Some kids don't have family that they can be placed with, or a family that's appropriate for them to be placed with. So kids do have to come into foster care. And our goal is always to return kids home when it's safe. We want kids to be with their families. We want them to be able to thrive in their family. We want their families to be successful. So foster care is when a kid does have to come into the Department of Children's Services custody. While kids are in custody, we are involved with the court. We go in front of a judge every 3 months on cases, sometimes more. But those cases are reviewed by the courts. The courts make decisions on what goes on in our cases. Everything's reviewed with the court. So we just make sure their needs are taken care of while they're in the department's custody. We have standards of making sure their medicals, their dentals, all of those things are cared for. And we just try to get them home as fast as possible and safe as possible. And then obviously that's not always an option. And we do have to sometimes terminate parents' rights or look for other options for permanency for children. We also have a program called Resource Linkage. I think that a lot of people don't know about Resource Linkage, and it really is a great thing. So if there is a family that just needs help, they're not abusing their children, there's no substance abuse going on, there's no concern of child abuse and neglect, but they just struggling. So say you have a family that has been evicted and they're just living in a hotel and they need some extra support. Then we have a program called Resource Linkage, and it comes through the hotline as well. And we have a resource linkage coordinator. Her name's Jordan Cross, and she helps connect to services. She helps find something that they may need to fill in that gap so they don't have to come to the Department of Children's Services because they don't have basic needs that they need. So it's a really good program that we have, and I'm thankful for it because it does keep a lot of cases from needing intervention because she's able to connect them with supports. If we have parents, sometimes foster parents that need an additional bed or something, she's able to get us beds through community partners. So it's a really great program. And then this one's just kind of how the community can get involved with DCS. So I always say, if you're aware of child abuse or neglect, report it. If you see something, say something. A lot of people don't want to report things because they're afraid that it'll come back to them. The department cannot disclose a referent, but we got to keep children safe. And sometimes kids aren't in the community a lot if they're being abused. So if you're in the community, you see a child that you see something happen, you see something in your family, we've got to keep kids safe. It's all of our jobs. So if you see something, call the child abuse hotline. Any reports of allegations or allegations of child abuse and neglect. The next way that the community help is become a foster parent. One of our biggest needs is teenagers. We have a lot of teenagers that there's not a lot of foster homes for. And I always say teenagers are fun. Babies require a lot of work. Teenagers are a lot of fun. So you can always become a foster parent if that's what you feel led to do. And every Child Tennessee gives you more information on becoming a foster parent. The next thing we use a lot, and it is, I think the home base is actually in Kingsport, is Small Closet. And you can donate to Small Closet. We use this a lot if, like on non-custodial cases, if they need school supplies, we can put in a referral for them, and then the next 24 hours, they've got a whole big bag and just a lot of stuff to just love on these kids. I know they've gotten beds for us before that we need, bedding for kids, because you'll not believe the amount of kids that don't have a comforter or like a bed set. Just things that we take for granted every day. So they help a lot with that, and it's a great program. It's, like I said, based in Kingsport. And then you can volunteer at an Isaiah House or donate items to an Isaiah House. Isaiah House is a program that we utilize when kids do enter DCS custody. They can go and stay there while they're waiting placement. So we utilize them, and they give our kids, they love on them while they're there. They feed them, they spool them rotten, give them all kinds of stuff, and they just really love on the kids while they're there. And then the department's normally always hiring. If you know anyone that is interested in social work or this kind of job, send them to us. We'd love to see if they are able to work with us. And I think that was about all we had. I don't know if anybody had any questions about what DCS does. Yes, sir.
You say that most of the charges for these young children is vaping?
We have a lot of kids with vape charges, yes.
That's just smoking, right?
No, vaping is they're like these little,
Yes.
yeah.
Artificial cigarettes.
Yeah, but they also have them with THC in them. But their kids are not, you have to be, I don't know what the law is, 21 to buy them now, 18, 21 to buy them. So they're illegal, but a lot of our kids have them. And the problem that's scary with them is that you don't know what you're getting. So they're dangerous.